Hey folks, the Desert Artist here. You know, I have people wonder what's wrong with me. Well, I'm going to tell you, not a lot of people know what my problem is. But see, when I was 12 years old, I was in a horse accident with these guys right here. Not these horses exactly, but these guys. My horse was a Shetland Welsh pony, and I would ride him bareback. I went over to a friend's house. I left about noon because his parents were going somewhere, and well, it was, I guess, time for me to go home. So he lived about 3 or 4 miles away, and I'd ride the horse over there every other day or so and play with him down in his basement. His parents had a pool table down in the basement, so we would go down there and play pool, and his dad had a big old army parachute that we'd play with. He had like a driveway that went into his house, and well, it was kind of up on a ridge because he had a big farmland area, a lot of open pasture like this here. So when the winds came, he'd get on one side and I'd get on the other, and we would hold on to the two ropes, and the wind would blow up, we'd catch up, and we'd float off of his little ridge there out into the field. And when I was riding home one day after his parents left early, well, parents and him left early, I was riding back into the property, and the horse was, we was galloping along, and well, he came up to a tree and he was heading straight for that tree, and he wasn't turning. I had his bit in my hand. I remember exactly having the right side of his bit in my hand because he wouldn't turn. He would just kept on going straight. I kept his hand over there. I kept pulling like this, and as soon as he got about that far away from the tree, he sidestepped that tree. I only have one picture in my mind, and that one picture consists of bark and a branch. I wasn't found for 5 hours after I slammed into that tree at a dead gallop run. And horses, you know, they can go about 20 miles an hour. And we was going about 20 miles an hour. I was in a coma for 3 days. After my dad found me, he carried me back to the house, and I was flown out of the local Tonasket, Washington football field there at the high school, and I was flown to the OMAC hospital in Washington State, and they performed an emergency laparotomy on me, and they found out that I had ripped my liver almost in half, and my spleen was close to bursting. It was about 4 or 5 times in size. I had a bruise on my brain and my skull, and it was right up in here somewhere, so I got some frontal lobe damage. And I had a couple concussions in the military as well. So my thought processes aren't quite as quick as a lot of people are. When people ask me if I'm a smart guy, I tell them no, I'm not a smart guy, but I'm an intelligent guy. I didn't do very well in high school because I couldn't remember the curriculum. Not being able to remember the curriculum, I didn't do very well in history. I seemed to do pretty good in math. You know, the numbers didn't really lie to you like they do now in today's Common Core. Today's Common Core I probably would have failed because there's a lot of thought processes, but you got to draw everything out, you know, like you really had to work out your problem on paper. And a lot of my calculations were, well, they were in my head because the numbers just seemed to fall together into the right places. What are you doing, Rowdy? This is Rowdy. This is my neighbor's horse. And I'm out here in the field. Hi, Rowdy. The brown one doesn't like me too much, but Rowdy's pretty cool with me. They always seem to hang out together. You know, I've never ridden a horse since my horse accident. I never really had the craving to go ride a horse. Never really have a craving to do much of anything scary. Although I'm not really afraid of stuff. I can climb a big old tree, and I can climb to the top of a 14,000 foot mountain, Mount Uncompahgre in Colorado. I climbed to the top of that mountain, and well, once you get up to the top, there's a big cliff that goes right straight down. It's kind of goes up like this, has a little ridge that goes around the mountain, and one side is a cliff, and you can kind of worm your way up there. I climbed up there, and I looked down over the edge, and I felt this probably 40-50 mile an hour wind blowing up across me, and well, it was straight down. Made my balls tingle, and you know there's something talking to you when your balls tingle and you're looking down. So I'm looking down, and your balls go, woo! I'm talking to the camera. You want to come see the camera? Haha, you're gonna piss. So anyway, one of the things that's wrong with me is I have sometimes problems recollecting the proper word or terminology I need to use in order to get my point across. Sometimes I lose focus. I lose tenacity. I get bored with stuff really quick. Then other times I can maintain. What are you doing, Rowdy? I'm going to go over here and see if I can say hi to Rowdy real quick. So anyway, you see that I love my animals. Just because I'm killing ants doesn't mean I don't love my animals. I just love animals that have some sort of an intelligence and respect. Ants don't seem to have that. I kind of disassociate with people. I'm not very social. I don't have any contact with a whole lot of friends. See that big black one out there? The white one, that's a female. That black one there, he's the big bull of the herd. He seems pretty friendly. Anyway, back to my story. When I was 45 years old, I'd gone through a divorce, and my wife left me. From being in the military, I was verbally abusive. I didn't put the correlation together that I needed to in order to be a good husband. That's the reason probably why she left me. She was a school teacher and taught me a lot of things. Actually, both those cows are bulls, the brown one and the black one. Anyway, I went back home after I met up with a lady on the internet, and turns out that she was the aunt of an old girlfriend of mine in high school. Well, we hooked up, and I brought her to Arizona. She didn't like Arizona, and well, I'd been there for 20 years, and we both figured it was about time that we moved on and got someplace like this. Green and trees and pasture. I could grow a garden past March. See, in Arizona, where I was at in Quartzsite, you can see some of my past videos of Quartzsite, Arizona. It was really hot there. I tried to grow tomatoes. You know, they're a pretty easy thing to grow. I couldn't grow tomatoes past April. Little blooms would come up on them. Sure, the plants would survive. Blooms would come up and they would dry out and fall off. Never any fruit. I think I've seen one tomato out of 3 years. And I started them in like late January. So after I'd been with my girlfriend for a couple years, I went back home to my hometown, Conconelli, Washington. My mom was great with my new girlfriend. They got along, they talked. Even when we left, everything seemed to be pretty cool. Then for some reason my mom's attitude changed. Maybe she thought that my wife now was gonna rob me of my inheritance. Like my mom robbed all of her ex-husbands of their fortunes, what they made. And I've come to this conclusion through hindsight, many years of contemplation and sitting with God and really understanding the things that I needed to understand. You know, it's when you really find Jesus and you're able to understand and hear God, that when you can really spend time with Him. And it took me a long time to be able to spend time with Jesus and God and understand what I needed to understand in order to become who I needed to become. And that was my own man. So anyway, after I got in this confrontation with my mother, she finally decided to tell me that who I thought was my biological father wasn't really my biological father. All this time throughout my life and my childhood, when she had been trying to get child support from my father, turns out that he really wasn't my father, and my mother was just trying to extort money from him and his family because he was an only child and his family was rather well off. That kind of pissed me off. So I decided not to have anything to do with my mother, and I banished her from my life, and I moved away out here in the middle of the country where I can enjoy life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I can grow a garden. I can spend time with God. I can walk out here in the middle of a field and be with the big bull cow or the horses right over there. There's all kinds of frogs in here and lots of mosquitoes. You know, it was really that 45 years of dishonesty that really changed my aspect. I don't have any thirst for family, but that could come from my brain trauma. But all you people out there who making comments on my videos and passing it around, I can tell you I really appreciate it. You can't live your life alone, but you don't have to live life with your family. Right now I'm just kind of rambling. A lot of this stuff may not make any sense, but I don't really care. I think it's all you people out there who really need to know who I am. A lot of people out there probably think I'm just a crazy old guy out here, ant killing crazy guy. The thing that really made me crazy was my mother telling me who I thought was my father was not my father. And when I asked her who my father was, she decided to say, well, I'm not going to tell you. You see, because that was the last little bit of control she had over my life, and she didn't want to give that up. But you know who really is my father? The good Lord Jesus Christ and God Himself. He's the one who tells me how to overcome problems. Interpretive thought, my own mind, my own consciousness. That's the real thing, the real power of knowledge, is knowing that if you ask yourself a question, you will come up with the answer because you have decisive and derivative thought. You have the power to overcome anything and everything in your path. You can do it. You can be what you always wanted to be because you have the power and the drive to become anything in this world. Look at Hillary Clinton. She became what she wanted to be. Barack Obama, what was he? He was a community coordinator. You know, I don't know what they all went through in order to get to the positions they are now, but neither one of them served in the military, saved a life. They may have taken lives, but I'm not going to be one to suggest that. I don't want to be suicided because, you know, they all have their little footprints and whatever they put their feet into. You know, they're all heavy investors in Google and information age stuff. Whereas me, I'm just a little guy. Just another disabled veteran that is reclusive and doesn't want to deal with a whole lot of people. But I'm here to tell you, the power of your fate lies within your own hands. You can be anything you want to be as long as you continue to strive after that one thing. Don't get distracted. Everything that you want to be takes time, and everything that distracts you from doing that one thing that you want to be will take up time that you could have spent doing what you wanted to do, being who you wanted to be. You know, I'm looking, you know, I'm almost 50. I look at the world now and it's like I only got 40 years. You can't do everything. You can't be an environmental engineer and a computer analyst and a wildlife biologist and a doctor and a lawyer all at the same time. You can't do it. You can't be all 5 of those things. Well, look at all the hundreds of other things that you can do in this world. Time is a very crucial element in this world. And in order to become who you want to be, you need to buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be a rough ride. Because there's people out there who are going to want to distract you, form you, deface you, be deconstructive in your life. I wanted to be in the Coast Guard forever. I liked saving lives. When I was given a choice of what armed forces I wanted to go into, and it came down to the Coast Guard because I wanted to save lives. I wanted to go out there and be something. I wanted to take part in somebody who was in a crucial situation and be able to bring them back from the brink of death. I almost went over a cliff with my friend and his girlfriend. As they were falling off of a cliff, I jumped off that cliff, grabbed them both by the arms as I hooked my leg around a tree. That man is still one of my best friends today. He's made great decisions in his life because of me. Because I was the one there, them as they were sliding off that cliff. I don't want to say it was one of the best moments of my life, but I can tell you, it was one of the most, looking back, it was one of the most clarifying moments to define my life, that I can have that sort of an impact on this world. And all it takes is saving one person who can save one person, who can save one person, who can save the world. And you never know if that's going to happen. You can save that one person and they'll continue to be a drug user, or they'll continue to be a doctor, or they'll continue to just live life, but they're going to have contacts among contacts in this world that will affect everything in the long run, whether it be making a video, raising cows so you can have something to eat, growing the grass so the cows can eat, so you can eat. This video may not be the best video in the world, but it might provide you with a little insight that I have learned in this world. You can make a difference. No matter how much you think that it won't matter, it will. You can make a difference. You can be the deciding factor in someone's life. Praise Jesus. He's the only one out there that exudes positivity. Everything else, anything negative, is a spawn of Satan. It will draw you away from that inner voice that's in your head that gives you the answers every time you ask yourself a question. Be safe. It's a Desert Artist. I'm out of here.